Note 2017. So, Netflix recently made an adaptation of the anime Death Note. And I happen to be a really big fan of such an anime, so I was pumped for this movie. Now, stuff like whitewashing in this kind of situation isn't bothering me much because they're trying to change the setting and change the story. Kind of different from what they're doing in other adaptations. For example, this kind of a situation would not apply in something like The Last Airbender if they moved everything to Seattle. That would not work. But I think of Death Note as a pretty universal story. You can kind of move it anywhere. You could probably do the same kind of thing in Fantasyland or stuff like that, and many plot elements could be intact. The show is very, very good at being versatile like that. I was honestly even impressed with the trailers, personally. That's just me, I got into it there. And they had some good casting choices, except for, like, Light, who, at first at least. But, let's get into this. Just grabbing water, because I'm a thirsty boy. So the plot of Death Note 2017 takes place in Seattle and moves the story there, where a young Light Turner, and yes, they changed his name, got a Death Note that he just dropped and he picked it up. And then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna kill all the bad people in this world. Well, not really this time. It's a bit different than the actual show, in a sense. So eventually, Light meets up with Misa Amane. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not Misa Amane. It's Mia Sutton. So the two of them meet up, and Mia is a cheerleader. Light is not like the anime portrays him. No, this version of Light, I don't think, is nearly as smart as anime Light, or as evil for that matter. He's a bit different. So Light and Misa decide to team up to use a Death Note to eradicate the world of criminals. Pretty cut and paste from the show. Light also got help from Ryuk, a Shinigami, played by Willem Dafoe. He is the only name I will probably remember from the actors. And then things get complicated in the case when L starts coming on board trying to hunt them down. The only two other characters of note in this are Watari and James Turner, Light's dad. So overall, I'm gonna say that I actually loved this movie. It's a surprise, and I'll explain why. So one thing Death Note 2017 does a lot is they change a lot of the details. In fact, certain things like ages are dialed back pretty much. Both the Light and Mia are probably in the younger group of high school, maybe seniors, maybe juniors, or maybe even sophomores. Also, I'm gonna say this right now, I don't think that Light is as moral compassy as he is. Don't get me wrong, he's nicer in the series and he has more standards and stuff like that. But before this, there are some problems with it. Light doesn't nearly feel as arrogant as the god complex individual that we saw in the series. And Misa has changed a lot to become Mia. So right off the bat, the best thing I can say out of this movie is Willem Dafoe as Ryuk. Ryuk steals the show every single time he appears. And he's definitely the best acted out of the cast. And so the animation on him and the CGI, Ryuk appears a little less than he does in the show and stuff like that. The show focuses heavily on the internal monologues of characters like Light and L. In the movie, we don't get that. It's a lot more movie structured. The writing was pretty good in general. I felt that much of the dialogue came out at least naturally. least it's not terrible dialogue and stuff like that. And the acting in general isn't too bad. The strongest technical side aspect, I'd say, probably is the direction. I have not seen any of this guy's other movies, but this does give me a little more of an interest in them. I think it's Adam Wingard. Adam Wingard in Leviosa. The direction pretty much runs a good chunk of the tone, which was the important aspect that I really needed to get for it to be Death Note. Now, a bit of an interesting thing is the characters, because they changed a lot of that, as I was kind of talking earlier. For one, Misa is flipped on her head, kind of as Mia, and the dynamics kind of interesting between Light and his dad. But I like him at least. Light is generally a likable character. As for L, the character I've been leaving out, he probably got a more interesting shaft to the story and stuff like that. To put this into perspective, L feels a lot more like a plot device vehicle. But he does have his moments and stuff like that. Watari has a good actor behind him and stuff like that, and it leads to an interesting part of the movie. With a mix of things and stuff like this movie, I don't think is perfect. It's probably far from it. But I do like it a lot. I think it's a solid adaptation that's nowhere near as good as the series, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. Thinking long and hard, I'd probably give this movie a 7.5 out of 10 as an adaptation. No, that's as a movie. As an adaptation, it's not that great because it doesn't exactly bring in certain elements of characters. But I'm curious what you guys thought. Leave it in the comments. I'm tired, and have an amazing time with whatever you're doing. Entertainment Lord.